Reppin' Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. PhillyGoat.com is your one stop shop for Philly pride. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. Look fresh, stay Philly, Philly Goat. Go Birds. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Brotherly Birds breakdown for Week 9, the bye week. We're the Montgomery brothers. Yeah, the bye week is favored by 2. My name's Jim.
I'm Kyle.
And we're here to break down the Giants game, and there's a lot going on right now in Eagle Land.
Yeah, there's a little chatter going on, you know.
All right, but first, the revenge game. They got it. Even though nobody said it was a revenge game, you heard Saquon's comments. We saw how they flipped and celebrated after they beat us. So what's your takeaway from the game? Was it a revenge game?
Look, I mean, we've all played competitive sports. You and I both play competitive sports. You know, if somebody gets you and you get to play them twice, you always have that in the back of your mind. You can say anything you want. Yeah, you can say anything you want about being professional athletes. It's always just about the next game. That's BS. This was a revenge game. And they got it. But at the same time, let's not lose focus on this was the Giants, right? This was the Giants. This was the 2-5 New York Giants. That's who they played, and that's the team that came out there and played against them. It wasn't the team that played them 2 weeks prior in New Jersey. This was the 2-5 Giants that played them. So,
and they played
albeit, and look, albeit the Eagles did what they were supposed to do. They dominated a 2-5 team. They outplayed them. They were the more you called it last week. They were the more talented team. They should dominate this team from start to finish, and they did. Right.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
They punched them in the mouth, and then they kept punching. It was like I got lucky. I'll admit it. I got lucky with the Rocky 3 comparison, but both Giants games were Rocky 3 in a nutshell. And I mean, that's what they did. And they finally, I said it to you in the stands, like for the first time, I saw it happen. They were one block away and they actually got that block. Now, Giants fans are still crying on Twitter that it was a hold, but.
Listen, if we want to talk about that hold, we can talk about Nakobe Dean getting tackled on the touchdown pass that dart through the Scatabo. And look, since we want to bring up Giants fans crying about the refs and crying about this and crying about that, can we stop with the tush push was a fumble thing? Whether the ref blew the call or not and blew the whistle dead too early, inconsequential. Like that is its own entity. The fumble occurred after the whistle. Right. So it wasn't a fumble. And Daboll raising his blood pressure and going to have a heart attack on the sideline isn't going to help. I mean, we all got to laugh at it, and everybody found it funny, the fact that the ref literally was like, as I tried to explain, like, I brought it up on the members pod on Clash of Conferences, shout out Clash of Conferences, about like, it was like you're yelling at your kids. Like, if you would just listen when I tell you the first time.
I've already said this.
That's exactly how he phrased it. And, it was just, it made me laugh. But if we can just stop with that, like the refs gave the Eagles the game. The refs did not score 38 points for the Eagles. No. The Eagles scored 38 points for the Eagles. And the Giants did not do anything to stop it. That's what happened.
And if you're going to be honest, I mean, the refs, all season, the refs have been horrible.
Across the whole league.
Both sides, across the league. Because the Elliott's missed field goal should have been re-kicked because they blew the whistle. There was no flag, and by the rule, and they never did. And I
Yep.
mean, I said it before 1,000 times. You can call holding every single play if you really wanted to. You could
Well,
probably call pass interference every time
yes.
if you wanted
You
to.
can call offsides, you can call a false start. If you like, people need to get off their soapbox and stop watching these Twitter instant replays and everything else, because if you slow any play down in any sport, right? If it's the NBA or NHL or NFL, like any fast-paced sport like that, if you slow it down, you can manipulate that to be any call that you want it
Oh,
to be. So when people are like, "Oh, well, he false started on the tush push." Yeah, the other guy's in the neutral zone too, and they didn't call it that way. So if you're not going to call it one way, you can't call it the other way. And that's exactly what's happening with the tush push. So let's just stop with that. It's going to be voided next year. They're going to ban it. It'll never come back. And honestly, I'm to the point now where I'm fully thinking they're going to ban it, but I can see some owners going, "You know what? We wanna learn how to do that. So we wanna vote for it." I can
well,
see people doing that.
I could. And the fact of the matter is, now, like, they couldn't find anything with health. They couldn't find anything with this. It's technically legal by the rule book. Now they're saying they're not officiating it right. That's an NFL officials problem. That's not an Eagles, a tush push,
100%. Yep.
Cowboys, Giants, whoever. That's, and I mean, you can make the argument for anything. Like, but like the argument my feelings were, are you going to say you can't throw passes because you can call pass interference? You can't run the ball because the refs aren't officiating correctly the holding calls. I mean, it is what it is, but the bottom line is refs were bad on both sides in that game. And I always believe like if you're hinging your feeling on the game to one or two plays, you didn't do enough
Correct.
to get in a better position. You're allowing those one or two plays to swing the game.
Yep, yep. If you're allowed, you can't allow the refs to dictate the outcome of the game. And if that's what you thought happened, and look, can we also throw out the fact that like the pass interference on the Giants on that touchdown was a legit pass
It
interference? Like he
was.
pushed off. So that's one call that everybody said went the Eagles' way that shouldn't have. Can we talk about the Jackson Dart fumble that clearly was a fumble? They rewarded it to the Eagles because they knew it was a fumble. They replayed it and were like, nah, his hand was going. That was a blown call. And then like we talked about before we started, the touchdown pass to Scatabo, Nakobe Dean got tackled. He physically got tackled, and you see it at every angle on every replay, and there was no flag whatsoever. So,
Yeah,
and look,
it's
offensive linemen have been doing that for years. You see, if you watch TikTok and watch Instagram and see all these reels of Strahan and Runyon going at it back in the day, Runyon always had his arm up around Strahan's neck. So offensive linemen do that in every game across
absolutely,
the
yeah,
league every single week, and it's not a hold. It's just the momentum of both players. And look, the defensive tackles do it to the offensive tackles, and very rarely do they call it illegal hands to the face on the defense.
right.
They do sometimes, but they don't do it enough. So, there's blown calls on both sides, and to your point, the refs have been crap all year when it comes to that stuff. So it is what it is.
But better team typically wins, and that's what happened. And it was good to see the running game back. Like Saquon doing Saquon things, and even a Tank Bigsby sighting. And I mean, who'd have thought second and so. Speaking of refs, I don't know if this was the refs, the official timekeeper, or Fox or whoever. In the stadium, it said second and 31. On the screen, it
Second
said
and
second and
26.
31. Officially, it was second and 26.
Yep. Yep. So right before they snapped it, they adjusted it on where the 50-50 thing is on that corner scoreboard. They adjusted it there. It wasn't adjusted on the other ones in the other end zone or in the other corner, but I did see it on that one where it flipped to second and 26. Now, I did notice throughout that whole game, they were behind with a lot of the downs and distances when they were flipping it
Right.
onto the scoreboard. And I don't know if there was a glitch or to your point, whether they had a new person that was radioing that stuff in and it just wasn't
It's my
getting
first
there in
day.
time. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe, and like I told you, like they were playing '80s music. Maybe that's how it was in the '80s when you were in the stadium. You
Hey,
know?
the old school chain gang with the flip numbers.
Yes, yes. Maybe everything was just a throwback. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I noticed that too, and it just threw me off.
But I will now. I'm not sure which way his name is supposed to be pronounced, but I do want to give a shout out to Brett Toth, however you want to pronounce it. I thought he played excellent. I think he kind of made the difference. I mean, part of it was Lane and Jordan specifically wanting to play better than they did that first game. But I thought Toth played a very, very good game filling in at center.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what can happen when you have a full week in that position to prepare, right? So, like, when you're practicing with the second string basically and getting those reps, and then in a game you're being flushed in, it's hard for anybody. So, like, you gotta think that that's what happened a couple weeks ago. So now he had a full week to prepare with the starting lineup, with the other guys on the offensive line. They get to know each other, know the schemes, know all that stuff. It also helps when my boy Fred Johnson is eligible.
Can we give him some love? I felt like at least 10 times number 74 is reporting eligible.
Absolutely, yeah, that's exactly what it was, and I love it. And if you notice that across the league this year, it's happening across the league. They're lining up 6 offensive linemen. So I love it, and I think that's gonna be a little wrinkle that they're gonna do the rest of the year in addition to under center play action, right?
Right.
Fred Johnson's gonna come in, and we said it at the game Sunday, and I will guarantee you it happens, as you said, Fred Johnson's catching a touchdown pass this year.
Let him eat. Let the big
He's
man
gonna
eat.
catch a
Reward
touchdown.
him.
They asked Sirianni about it on WIP, and he was like, "Well, all these guys wanna be the spotlight. They wanna catch the ball." And I don't know if
Right.
that was throwing shade at AJ or not, like, you know what I mean? Like, throwing
Oh, I
that
didn't even
in
think
there,
about that.
but I don't think it was, but I'm sure if there's a way that the Philadelphia media can manipulate it to cause any more strife
Oh,
and more of a rift between the AJ Brown and the
right.
Eagles, they'll be like, "Oh, well, did you hear what Sirianni said about everybody wants to catch the
Get
ball?" So,
Diana Rossini on it. She'll make a
uh
story.
yeah, it's brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. But yeah, I see Fred Johnson, man. He's going to be the star of the game one week. He's going to catch
Love
that
it.
touchdown, that big guy touchdown. I love it.
Love the big guy touchdown. I was a big fan when I
Yes.
ran track of the big man 4x4.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. I like it. I like it, and I think those guys deserve it. And that's like the fun nature that's coming back to this team, where you see they're starting to click and they're starting to have some fun. You saw with Dallas Goedert's second touchdown, him and Jalen had that weird handshake that they started
That was
dancing
very
and
weird.
everything. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was planned or if they just kind of wink, like they wung it in the moment type thing, but like it was awkward for sure, but I appreciate it, you know what I mean?
I
It
like
looked
the
pretty fun.
awkward.
Yeah, yeah. So,
All
but
right,
yeah, it looks
so
like there's some spark coming back to this team,
yeah,
which is awesome.
and it all starts with you mentioned his name, Jalen. I mean, it didn't have to throw for 300 yards this time, but was very efficient, made the most of his passes, 4 touchdowns. I mean, is that what y'all wanted to see?
I mean, look, that leads me into my 2 cents this week. It's gonna be short and sweet since it's a bye week, and I know we got a lot of other stuff to talk about, but my 2 cents this week is about Jalen. Can we just look, Jalen obviously ignores the list. Right? He doesn't care about the list. He doesn't care about what others outside of the organization think to him. He just cares about winning. He doesn't care about stats. He just cares about the wins. Having said that, can we talk about the stats for a second? Jalen Hurts is leading the NFL in total touchdowns. That's not good enough for some people. It's halfway through the season. Oh, are they good numbers? Well, if Josh Allen was leading the league in total touchdowns, would they be good numbers for Josh Allen? But they're not because they're Jalen Hurts, and he's a
Running away with the MVP.
right, and other people have referred to him recently, we won't say any names, Mr. Mike Randler, but he's a rugby player playing quarterback. So that's why he doesn't throw that many interceptions. No, he doesn't throw that many interceptions because he's smart with the football and doesn't put the football in
Exactly.
harm's way. That's why, right? He's not flashy. He can be flashy, but he's not flashy because he doesn't need to. The only stat I care about is the stat in the win column. And my man wins at a higher clip than any other quarterback right now in the league. So we can stop with top 10 lists. We can stop with MVP voting because he's sixth in that, which is an atrocity if you ask me. Um, he's already beaten Stafford. He's already beaten Patrick Mahomes multiple times. He has a 3-2 record against Mahomes all time. One of those in the Super Bowl, two of them in the regular season, right? He's beaten. Who else did he beat this year?
Baker.
Baker Mayfield. Yeah, Baker Mayfield this year. So like,
He's beaten
can
Josh
we?
Allen. Not
He's
this
beaten them
year, but
all. He's
right.
beaten them all, right? So like, he's gonna play Jared Goff. He's gonna play Jordan Love coming out of the bye week. If he beats them, like, what else does he have to prove to anybody? It's just at this point, it's absolutely laughable. And I think the only thing that we're going to say at the end of Jalen Hurts' career is that it's a shame that he only beat 31 of the 32 NFL teams because he's not going to play for another team other than the Eagles. So he's
No.
not going to get a chance to beat the Eagles. So that's it. That's it. And look, at the end of the day, I will take Jalen Hurts as my quarterback 10 times out of 10 over anybody else in the league. And I know that's probably not going to be well received and it's going to be criticized, but he's our guy. He fits
Right.
perfectly in this city and he fits perfectly on this team.
Right. And I
Simple as that.
mean, to your point, leading the league in total touchdowns. The purpose of the game, the point of the game is to score more points than the team you're playing. If you're
Hmm.
leading the league in total touchdowns and he has almost what is it, 3-1 passing
Yeah.
to rushing this year, where in years past it's been the opposite. So I
Yep.
mean, I don't know what else you want.
Well, look, here's a hypothetical question for you, and I want to know truly what you think it is, right? So I'm going to give you two quarterbacks, and you tell me who had the better career, Troy Aikman or Dan Marino.
I it's going to pain me to absolutely say this, but I would take Troy Aikman's career because of the 3 Super Bowls.
Exactly, right? I would too. And as a fan, yeah, I would love to say that our quarterback was one of the top 3 quarterbacks to ever play the game, but he didn't win me anything,
No.
right? So I don't want to say that they're empty stats, but at the end of the day, they're empty stats, right? They didn't bring a title. Troy Aikman didn't throw for 40,000 yards in a season or 4,000 yards in a season or 40,000 in his career, but his 3 Super Bowls.
And
That's it.
I'd take that 10 times out of 10
And he's
over.
a Hall of Famer, right? So like, and nobody bats an eye about Troy Aikman. And Troy Aikman had the biggest offensive line in NFL history. He had a great defense. He had Jay Novacek, Michael Irvin, and Emmett Smith that he was throwing to. You don't think that's a good supporting cast?
And Alvin Harper was no slouch either. I
No,
mean,
no, not at all. Not at all. Alvin Harper was a beast. But like, you don't think that's a good supporting cast, but yet we're going to say that the team carries Jalen Hurts. Well, if we're going to say that, then the team carried Troy Aikman too, but he's in the Hall of Fame. He's not in the
right.
Hall of Fame just for managing a team to 3 Super Bowls. He's in the Hall of Fame because he could win when he had to, and Jalen can win when he has to. That's what it comes down
So,
to.
a- and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, and I'm not comparing him to this guy, but you could make the same argument against Joe Montana as well. Had the greatest receiver in NFL history on his team. Those defenses were underrated, but they were good. Roger Craig was not a bad running back, borderline probably Hall of Famer. Brent Jones was a hell of a tight end. Their
Hmm.
offensive lines were always solid. But when they needed to win, the Super Bowl against the Broncos, for instance, the NFC Championship game with the catch with Dwight Clark, he did what he had to do. The same way
Yep.
Jalen will come down and do what he needs to do to win games.
Yeah, and then look, that's why like I'm done with the list. I'm done with the same argument over and over again because that certain people are never going to change their ways. So
No.
you come to a point where I'm not gonna keep saying the same thing for you to keep saying the same thing. Like, that's just a dumb thing. Like, it's dumb. If you can't come up with a new argument, then it's not worth it, right? So, like, every time that I bring up something about Jalen Hurts, there's a new stat or something new for me to bring up, and I throw it at somebody, and they're like, "Nah, well, the team carried him," and this. Okay, all right. Well, it's
Right.
clear that you're just that's how it is, and nobody's ever going to change, and that's how the national media is. They're not giving any love. I don't care at this point. Keep doubting them. That's what I say. Keep doubting him. Keep doubting the team, and we'll see what happens. You know.
Looking forward to the next Nike commercial with you wanted to hate him,
Yep.
but love
Yep.
hurts.
Yep, it's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be great.
So it was the Giants. They I mean, I can't get going back to the run game before we get to the defense. The Giants were supposed to have this great one of the best front fours in the NFL and 200 and what 70 some rushing yards they
Mhm.
had. I mean, are are we ready to say that at least offensively for right now they're back?
I think so. I think that was great momentum going into the bye week. It's something to build off of, and it will give the Packers coming out of the bye something to look at, something to think about, right? Because they ran different sets, they ran different schemes, and they actually mixed it up, which I think kept the Giants second guessing it, right? Every time they brought that safety down, that's when they would throw.
Right.
So Jalen was smart about it. I still think that they're struggling to get the plays in on time, which could hinder that run game and like him audibling a little bit if they don't get up there in time. But I do think the addition of adding that sixth lineman and Fred Johnson to that side, because like, look, we noticed it a couple times. Fred Johnson would line up on the right side, but they'd still run left. So it's not like they always ran to that side
Right.
too. So like they mixed it up and they had those guys guessing. So to your point, it was the Giants defense. Don't get overly excited about it, but it's not like it's not like the Eagles have not had success against Micah Parsons in the past. Right? So it's
That
not
is
like Micah
also true.
Parsons
Right.
is Lawrence Taylor out there and he's just a one man wrecking crew. Or, we'll get into him in a little bit, but Miles Garrett with 5 sacks last week. Holy hell. Holy hell. Five
Yeah.
in one game. I mean, come on.
Reggie never had 5
Um,
in one game.
dude, 5 in one game and the Patriots still put up 34. So, like, think about that.
Cleveland's gonna
Crazy.
Cleveland.
Oh, brutal. But yeah, I think the run game definitely looks strong. And the fact that we had 200-yard rushers, um, Tank's coming along, man. Look, we we know for damn sure he can't return a kick or catch a kick in the return
No,
game, but
not at all.
it looks like he's pretty solid as a running back. And look, we gotta remember he was the number one down there in Jacksonville for a while, even when ATN
For a
was
couple
there.
years.
So yeah, so I mean he has the chops, and with ATN taking the load of that workload for the last like year and a half to 2 years, he may have pretty fresh legs. So I
He
like that
should be
spell.
fresh.
Do we know what's going on with AJ Dillon?
I don't know, man. I mean,
Are they
he's
saving him?
just a healthy scratch. No clue. Like, I don't
I
think
mean,
he's
look,
injured.
I don't hate it if as long as they're not doing anything with him. I mean, I don't hate it to keep him fresh down the stretch. Why not?
Right. Just in case
You know?
something happens.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, it's what's funny to me is Shipley was hurt, so you trade for Tank Bigsby, and you're like, oh well, he can help return kicks. He can't return kicks. Shipley cannot do anything in the run game, so you literally just you traded for a running back to take Shipley's spot, and now you healthy scratch AJ
Shipley,
Dillon.
you
So
don't have to worry about him getting hurt.
exactly, yeah, he can return kicks though. That dude's a beast. I mean, he's pretty good back there. So we'll
No,
see.
totally. Now, what about the defense? Is the defense back? I mean, yes, it was the Giants, but the other strength of their team, when healthy, is their offensive line. And 5 sacks, it couldn't really get much going after Scatabo got hurt. I mean, and they're only going to get healthier over the bye week.
Yep. Yep. I mean, look, Nolan Smith is back. BG's going to play. Who knows what other moves Howie makes, to solidify that defense or at least give Vic options. Um, what I think is happening is they played with a little chip on their shoulder for sure, which obviously, right?
Yeah.
And kudos to them for doing that. Um, that was the swagger that we expected to see out of this team when they went to New York, and they just left it in Philly that time. Um, but I am encouraged with the front line pressure. I mean, Andrew Thomas played, and they still had 5 sacks.
He didn't look that like he got
No,
dominated.
no. I mean, Bryce Huff had what? Not Bryce Huff. Jalen Hunt. He had yeah. Um, he had 1 sack and should have had a second sack, but it was deemed a 1-yard rush. Um,
Yes.
but he was getting pressures. I think dude, I saw a stat that I don't think was accurate, but it said that he had like 6 or 7 quarterback pressures. I mean, that's a lot for one game, you know what I mean? Some
It
teams don't even
is.
have that. So, he was in there
He
a
was
lot
active
though.
though. He
He
was
was
active.
active. So I think that's only going to get better as Nolan Smith comes back and BG, whatever BG can give you. He's going to keep chirping in these guys' ears and make sure that they play with that chip on their shoulder. So
Right. And I mean, I think that's going to make Nakobe, and I don't think we can undersell Nakobe Dean being back. And he's been back, and that's 2 games now where the defense looked pretty good. And everybody's talking, and I know we've talked a couple times this year so far about Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and getting those contract extensions. Maybe I know we got Bond. We just signed him. I know Jihad, but Nakobe means a lot to this team.
he's the leader. He's the like full blown leader, and you can tell that he's a communicator out there. That's the communication that they were missing when he was out.
Yep.
And I honestly think that's why they were so successful last year because he not only communicates, but he makes sure him and Cooper with that. We talked about it last week with the football IQ and making sure everybody's in the right place. Um, it's just amazing to see. And he missed a few tackles. Don't get me wrong, he missed a few tackles,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah, he did.
um, I think he's only going to continue to get better too because that's only his second game coming back off the
Right.
IL. You know what I mean? So
But I think it takes the load off of Zach Bond, who I felt has played better these past 2 weeks himself, not having to be that guy putting everybody in position. And
yeah,
I mean, I can't undersell that enough. Like that's huge.
no, and look, I think the biggest understatement of Nakobe Dean coming back is the fact that now you don't have to rush Campbell, right? You can see what you have with Campbell in the edge scheme, right? And
Right.
rotate him in there. And you just don't have to rush him and overwhelm him as a rookie. So like now you can bring him back and like throw him in there situationally, keep his legs fresh because look, we all know with rookies when they play a 18 or 17 game NFL season, that's 4 to 5 games longer than what they played ever in college or ever before. So nobody prepares you for that. It's just you
No.
have to make sure that your conditioning is okay, but it's still 5 extra games of like beating the hell out of somebody. So,
Right.
it'll be.
And
I God,
well, no, and I was going to say, I saw Vic say that part of the reason why his snaps were down, it wasn't so much that Nakobe was back. It was because they didn't want to overwhelm him, that they were teaching him the weak side.
yeah,
And it was more just letting him process it and everything. So I think they're expecting big things out of him. So if you got a guy like Nakobe that can take that pressure off and like you said, allow him to kind of move around and learn all of the positions, maybe they're grooming him to be the next Nakobe.
yeah. I mean, the grand scheme of things is Campbell is going to be a stud, and he can do both. He can do, he's great in the passing game, but he can stop the run as well. Nakobe struggles a little bit in the passing game, so
Yeah.
those nickel packages or when you play the cover twos or the shells and stuff like that. That's when Campbell's going to be out there. But on those first down, like the base packages, he may not be out there unless he's the edge right now because it may just be Bond and Dean because they're so good against the run and they play downhill. And then when you add Cooper in there, Cooper's like the third linebacker that just runs straight downhill with those run blitzes. So,
Right.
you know, I think the good thing about it is you see Vic has a lot of options and a lot of different ways that he can go about this. And he's smart enough to scheme it up and do what he needs to do. So that's what I like about it.
All right. So that's a perfect segue into, I guess, so far, the big news of the trade deadline is Michael Carter II for John Mechie and whatever pick swaps. I think we gave up a sixth and got a seventh back.
Correct.
Um,
Yep.
More options for Vic. However, Carter's the nickel. We have Coop already playing nickel. How do you see that playing out?
So I think it's a good problem to have. I mean, you know, he's still a defensive back, and he played safety before. He played cornerback, like outside corner, and he played predominantly in the nickel. I think mainly in the slot. I think I read a stat that it was like 83% of the snaps he played in the slot, like in the nickel. So if you think about that, he doesn't play outside a lot. It doesn't mean that he can't. And I
Right.
honestly think that it's low risk, high reward, in my opinion. But at the same time, I don't think Howie would have made a move for just a one dimensional player when you already have that individual spot locked up, right? So,
Right.
um, if you
Well,
heard Vic's
especially too
comments,
with all of his moves have been those athletic guys like Jihad Campbell who
yes,
can do multiple things. Like
yes,
it wouldn't have made sense for him to just be the one dimensional.
right, and if you think about it from that perspective, right? I mean, I think you heard Vic's comments where Vic said, you know, like they asked him, "Do you think you would ever move Coop outside?" And he goes, "Well, you know, he's one of the top, if not the top, nickel cornerback in the league. So it, you don't have that many options yet. Well, now you do. So maybe now you can move him outside because you have a
Right.
pretty decent, you know, nickel corner to slide into that spot. So again, I think it adds depth and it gives him options. And I mean, the thing I like about it, he's only 26. So, and I think he just signed a contract with the Jets, if I'm
Just
not
this year, I
mistaken,
think.
three
Yeah,
years. So, like, this could turn out to be like a really, really good pick. It could almost be like similar to like the Isaiah Rogers, where like we got Isaiah Rogers and he was suspended for a year, and then all of a sudden last year he just came out of nowhere and kind of
I'm
helped
back.
us, right? So
Yeah.
this could be one of those things because the Jets kind of gave up on him. They signed him and then they drafted two other defensive backs. So like the Jets doing Jets things basically.
Yeah.
But look, low risk, high reward in my opinion, and I'll take it. But I definitely don't think Howie's done.
No, I don't either. And I mean, I to your point too. I think having the options, I think you're going to see both of them play both positions at various times, depending on the matchups, especially with the next three games coming up between Green Bay, Detroit, and Dallas, where you're going to need all the help you can get. And Keely and Adoree Jackson, I don't want to see them on the field in any one of the three of those games.
Yeah, and look, I think the cool part about this is Vic likes to play that cover zone, right? And if you have those five defensive backs, they all just kind of roam out there. You don't play man, you play zone. So like having two guys that are experienced in kind of playing that zone to begin with is only going to help you. It's not going to hurt you.
Right.
And then you can play them both on either side, like one on one side, one on the other. I mean, that's going to wreak havoc for offenses if they both play to that level. So I don't think. Look, I'm not saying Michael Carter is going to play to the level of Coop, but at the same time, if he plays even remotely close to that, that's still a huge upgrade over what we got.
Oh, it's I mean, already he's better than both of those guys. But I mean, the numbers he's only given up. I mean, I granted he's in the slot 80 some percent of the time, but he's only given up three touchdowns, I think, his entire career.
Yeah,
So it's
and then
not like
look,
he's coming in as a slouch.
you think about you throw him out there with Coop, Blankenship, Makuba, Q. I mean, that's athletic guys that are flying around at that ball, and they're all ball hawks. I mean, that's going to be tough to. That's going to give defenses fits. And
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I mean, and to your point, we run the gauntlet the next 3 weeks. You got pretty tough quarterback, wide receiver, and Tucker Craft next week. That's going to be a tough matchup. So it'll be interesting to see. You're going to put Cooper on him, and then throw Carter on the outside. You got options, man. But like that's the thing, and I'm glad Vic's on our team to kind of scheme that up. I mean, I'm not saying he's Jim Johnson level, but like I haven't felt this comfortable with a defensive coordinator probably since Jim Johnson.
Right. I mean, he's still that old school mindset like Jim. He's probably learned under Jim Johnson. So, I mean, I'm
Hmm.
sure there's some of the same, I mean, maybe not Jim Johnson specifically, but
Yeah,
like those
yeah,
style of guys.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like I feel comfortable with him making adjustments and understanding that. I think the thing that gets overlooked is he has his scheme, he has his mentality and his defense, and he finds players that fit that. He doesn't do it the other way, right? So
Right.
like he finds players that can fit his defense, and then he utilizes them to their strengths within his defense, which is awesome. That's what you want, right? It's not. I think I think Mailata said this about the run game a couple weeks ago, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole type thing. Like,
Yeah.
but he said it weird. It was like a round hole in a square peg, something like that. Like he messed it all
It's like
up. Um,
the
but
Australian
that's
version.
yeah, yeah, but, like, that's not what Vic's doing with his defense. He's utilizing it the right way and doing it the right way, and it's working right now, so we'll take it.
I mean, that's where he discovered Zach Bond that way. He was like, let me try him over here. And you
Yep.
saw how that worked out. And do you think Vic, especially after the Bryce Huff fiasco, do you think Vic had any input at all? Like, do you think Howie said, "Hey, Vic, here's what I'm thinking"?
He says no, but if you heard how that question was phrased, it was basically phrased, "Do you have any input in what's going on right now with the free agency or, like, the trade deadline?" He said, "Nothing." Now Vic from sitting down at his press conferences and how he addresses things. He probably took that literal as right now in this moment is as of right this second, I've had no
No.
interaction with it.
Yeah.
But before Howie makes that trade, you cannot tell me he does not have a conversation with Vic. Or he had
Oh,
a previous conversation of Vic, what would you be looking for in this type? Give me three names and I'll let you know and I'll see what I can do. Something like
right.
that, right?
Well, I mean, Vic had a hand in Jahad Campbell. Like, he was high on, like, he raved about him. It loves him. So
Yeah.
I think it'd be foolish of Howie to not figure out or at least run it by him or give him a heads up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean the Eagles are always one step ahead as an organization in the NFL, and they started the trend of having like a whole team, like a whole department basically for analytics and like scouting to like do stuff like this. So like even if they it may not have been Howie making that phone call, but somebody from that department was having a conversation with Vic.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm saying. I can see Vic being taking that literal. Like I didn't have a conversation with Howie. I had a conversation with this guy that works with Howie, but I didn't have a conversation with Howie.
Right.
And
I didn't talk to Howie.
exactly, technically he's right, but at the same time he did have input. So and I appreciate that from Howie instead of being like some other GMs, and we're not going to mention any names like Jerry World down there, but like that thinks they know everything and they're better than everybody else. Like get input from your coaches because ultimately they're the ones that have to deal with them. You're up in the office.
Yeah. Well, because wasn't Bryce Huff was brought in before Vic Fangio, right?
He was brought in before Vic Fangio. Yes. Yep.
So that
Yep.
Vic probably would have never signed off on him.
No, because he was brought in December, like the end of December, or not the end of December, and like the end of February, and then Vic was brought in like 2 weeks after that or something like
Yeah.
that. It was something weird, and yeah, it was like you could tell that he wouldn't have made that move because it just
No.
didn't fit from day one.
No. And I mean, I think too, the other thing to keep in mind about Carter, he was drafted by oh my God, his name is slipping my mind now. The guy that was the
Salah?
general no,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Douglas.
yeah. Joe Douglas. Yeah, Joe
Joe
Douglas.
Douglas.
Yeah.
who now is an advisor, whatever his official title is, but
Yep.
in Howie's ear. So I'm sure he's like, yeah, if you can get this guy, here's what I saw. Which I mean, it's one of those things where it was like underneath the radar that Joe Douglas came back, but I mean, I'm sure he had a lot of say and a lot of pull in making that move happen.
Well, that's Howie's boy. Him and Howie are boys, and I think Jeffrey Lurie always liked Joe Douglas.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, look, and that for all we know, that's exactly who Vic talked to. He talked to Joe Douglas, which still technically he didn't talk to Howie,
it's
but
not
he
Howie.
talked to Howie's right hand man. So, but yeah, I like it, and it's definitely exciting to go into the bye week and see what they come out with. It's going to be a treacherous, 3 to 4 game stretch before it eases up a little bit. But, you know, I think that Nick has a great track record of coming out of the bye weeks strong.
Right.
Um, and I got to say, man, we've been blessed with coaches that do their due diligence during the
Do
bye
their
weeks, and
homework during the bye
and they
week.
get yeah, and they get their team ready to play. Like they don't come out sluggish at all. They usually have a pretty damn good record. So, I don't think this will be any different. I mean, they got an extra week to prepare for the Packers. It'll
Yeah.
be good. It'll be good.
And I mean, truthfully, this is a good practice run for January. I mean, you're gonna be playing good teams like this back to back to back weeks. So,
Right.
and I'm
Yep.
sure he's kind of reminding them, like he'll never come out and say it, but I'm sure he's reminding them, like this is getting us prepared. What we do now is going to set us up for whatever.
Yep, dude. It's how I talk to Keegan's fall ball and travel team. It's like, hey, always remember how you practice is how you play. So how you play right now is how you're going to play in the postseason. So you just got to get ready
Yep.
for it. So how you practice is how you play. If you lollygag here, you're going to be lackadaisical in the game, and something's going to bite you. So I think he's preaching all and saying all the right things. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I definitely I'm excited for this next quarter of the season, as we like to say.
Yep.
The next 4 game
No,
stretch.
absolutely. So, what else are they going to do? I don't think Howie's done. I know the big name out there today was Miles Garrett, but not that
I
I'm not
think
saying I'm not gonna take Myles Garrett, by the way. I didn't
no,
make that face to say that, but
yeah, I mean,
I
look,
don't think he's what
I don't I don't think 3 first round picks is gonna move the needle for me. I'd give up 2 and something else, but I don't think I can give up 3 first round picks. Um, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. Like I'm on the fence with it, but you know, look, if the Browns were smart, the Browns would do it, and they would trade him to somebody right now because you can tell that he's unhappy. He wants to win, and if you're the Browns, you already got um, first round picks coming to you anyway. So if somebody's willing to give you 2, maybe even 3 more, why wouldn't you do it to rebuild your organization? You already know you
right.
need a quarterback, right? You failed miserably with the quarterback carousel. At this point, what's stopping you from giving Shador Sanders the chance, other than the
I
NFL maybe being in your ear saying don't start him?
there's no reason not to start him right now.
Right. So, and we talk about it all the time, but it's got to burn them the fact that Baker Mayfield's having so much success, and they had him. He won a playoff game with them, and then they let him go. So, I think, if I'm Howie and I legitimately look at the needs of this team, part of the needs of this team, I know everybody looks at edge, everybody looks at cornerback. We need offensive line depth. So
We do.
I would not mind seeing them flip a third round pick for an offensive lineman that's willing to move, a versatile offensive lineman that can play guard or tackle because we need depth there. Look, I'm not taking anything away from Fred Johnson, but Fred Johnson's great when he's eligible. But when he has to be the starter full time,
When
I
he's the
don't
guy.
know. When he's that guy, I don't know. I mean, look, we also said the same thing about with Mr. Toth, Mr. Tothy, whatever we want to call him.
Toth.
Um, but having a full week to prepare with that team, he did great. So I think offensive line is probably the underrated move that I can see them making. But I would not be surprised if they did make a move for a cornerback.
No, I still think there's a big move coming. I don't know if it's for edge. I listen, personally, I would give up the 3 first round picks for Myles Garrett because you look at it like this, it's 3 years worth of first round picks. Now, the issue there is because of the cap hit and things like that, you have to get creative with that. But I mean, it depends on how you want to look at it. If you want to go all in for this year and go back to back, I think you bring him in. I don't see anybody beating them. But to your point, you're going to eventually have to replace or draft Lane's replacement. Mailata's been around for 7, 8 years now. You're eventually going to
Mhm.
have to draft his replacement, and that's the one thing that they've always been good is having the next guy in waiting, ready to take over. So, I looking at it from just in a vacuum for this year, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
But
I
I
mean,
would do it knowing that I'm going to be in a severe disadvantage next year, the year after, and the year after that for the draft.
you're also gonna be in a disadvantage from the cap, but, I mean, Howie's great at manipulating the cap and doing what he needs to do, but then you have Carter, you got Davis, you got
Right.
Dean, and you got, Quinion that, like, you got 4 potential guys and you throw in Nakobe Dean there, that's 5 potential guys that, like, you're not gonna be able to keep all 5 of them if you take on Garrett's salary.
Right. And I mean, that's the other caveat too. Like there's no extension for Jalen Carter. Like or Jordan Davis probably at that rate. I mean, I know the cap
At
goes
least
up.
one of them. Yeah, at least one of them.
Right.
Yeah, one of them's
But I
gone.
mean, like I said, the greedy part of me. But then at the same time, I mean, you could certainly make an argument that this is sort of the reset year from a cap perspective, and they could still go out and win the Super Bowl, and they have just as good a chance as anybody.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you can somehow pull it off, Jalen would probably do the Lane Johnson type thing and restructure his contract yearly in order to stay
Right.
competitive and win because winning's most important to him. So, I agree with you too. I mean, and that's what always had me on the fence with the 3 first round picks. If the Eagles are successful like they have been, it's a late first round pick. So you're not always going to hit on a guy like Jahad Campbell every single year. So like those
No.
25 to 32, not many of them pan out.
No, and Howie's been I don't wanna say lucky, but I mean, he's prior to the past 3 years, 4 years, he wasn't hitting on those picks at all.
No, no. I mean, you got Nolan Smith and you got Jahad Campbell are the two notable ones recently that you got that late in the first round, right? Cooper DeJean, technically, I mean, he was a second round pick, but like that was still he fell to the second round. So I just it'll be interesting to see if Cleveland would be willing to do it. And look, did we really offer or were we really thinking of 3 first round picks? Where there's smoke, there's fire. So multiple sources have reported it. Even John Clark came out and reported it. So like John Clark's pretty reputable where he's not going to say stuff unless he knows it's legitimate.
Yeah.
Um, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out over the next few days and next week up until Tuesday. But yeah, I'd be interested to see if they make a move like that. I I think if you make a move like that, that guarantees you that AJ is going to shut the hell up and play football the rest of the year.
No, he
That's
should.
the way I see it.
Um, yeah, and I'll get into AJ in a minute, but I mean, I it could be too that Howie called them and they said 3 first round picks and he hung up the phone.
Could be.
Like, that could be
Yep.
the reports too.
Could be. And like I heard the guy from Yahoo on an interview today, and he said, I didn't hear this from anybody within the Eagles. So I don't think he's purposely starting drama that isn't somewhat relevant. But if you remember correctly, before Miles Garrett signed the contract and when he demanded a trade, the exact same thing that the Eagles were
They were
interested in, the Eagles were
they were kicking
so
the tires on it. Yeah.
correct. So
I
maybe
mean,
this
and
is just rehashing that.
And truthfully, I mean, I would be disappointed in Howie if he at least wasn't looking and seeing making that call. I'd be disappointed earlier in the year if he didn't call Cincinnati about Hendrickson. Like,
Sure.
you know
Yep.
what I mean? Like, he's not doing his job if he's not making those calls.
Well, it's the same as you're hearing the calls that New England called Howie and offered a second round draft pick for AJ. If look, whether that's true or not, kudos to New England for at least making the phone call. And we
Right.
know that there was probably a couple other teams out there that made the same phone call to see if he was available and what would it take. Um, and that's the type of thing that like I think Howie's smart enough to not say, "Hey, it would take this," because if that eventually got out, that severs that relationship. So if
Right.
if it ever if those conversations ever happen, it would probably say, "Well, make me an offer." That's probably how he worded it, and make me an offer, and we'll see where you land. Um, but I think unless they get a first round pick for AJ, he ain't going anywhere, and they're not
No.
going to trade him in season.
No. And I saw people on Twitter, which Twitter's toxic sometimes. I need to stay away from that probably more than I do.
Yeah.
But oh, Eagles fans are severely overvaluing AJ. And I don't look at it as overvaluing him, but what he means to this team and being halfway through the season and with the drama and everything, you got to say, like, if I'm going to trade him, I better make it worth it. And
Hmm.
point is, too, somebody out there eventually is going to say, I'll give you a first round. I mean, you got a first round pick for Sam Bradford.
Right, but and look, the Eagles would be yeah, it's Sammy Sleeves. The Eagles would be absolutely stupid, and Howie would lose a ton of credit and a ton of everything, respect, anything, to trade him in the middle of the season for the simple fact that, like, yes, I know Sunday they played well without AJ there, and it looked great. That's not consistent without AJ on the field. We know that.
And it hasn't been.
What do you do if Devontae Smith takes a shot and does get knocked out? Then what do? You rolling Jahan Dotson out there by himself? Who
Darius
else do you
Cooper.
have right now? Yeah, Darius Cooper, AJ Brown Jr., I guess, but like we don't know what he can do in a real NFL game. He played in the
Yeah. No,
preseason, but like we don't know what he can do. So, I think they need to understand that right now AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, they're oil and water. They're not going to mix, which is fine, right? It's perfectly fine. It's not oil and vinegar where if you shake it up it blends together. It's just oil and water right now. It ain't mixing. And that's
no.
fine. But at the same time, the collective is what we need to focus on, and the whole team needs to rally around that and just kind of get everybody in the same boat. And I think that's why the bye week is a perfect time because it's right in the middle of the season, right? Take a
Yep.
snapshot of what you did the first half, get your asses prepared for the second half, and everybody get on the same page and say, we got a championship to win. Let's get our shit together.
Right. And truthfully, I don't know if you read the athletic article that they wrote on AJ that came out, I think, yesterday, but I read it and it talked about how he's very big on like his mental health and like admits that he
Mm-hmm.
isn't like sometimes in good spaces. But my takeaway from that was it's not that he's necessarily misunderstood is not necessarily the right word, but like this is just AJ being AJ sometimes. And the fact that he's forced to deal with it in Philadelphia for a team that's trying to defend the Super Bowl probably makes it harder. But I almost feel like he needs the Eagles just as much as the Eagles need him, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like
Yeah.
he wants to win. He gets upset when it's not that he's not enjoying winning. I think it said in the article, but he gets upset when he's not. A lot of the same stuff that we everybody's been speculating that like he wants to be more involved in it, and I think for I just almost feel like if he went to back to like Tennessee or a team that's not competing, it's going to be worse probably for his mental well-being if that and
Yeah.
that's a stretch. That was kind of just me kind of connecting the dots and speculating, but I almost got the sense that they not like to the Chris Carter level where Buddy Ryan traded him to save his life, but like how he would be doing him a disservice, especially if he traded him to Cleveland or
Yeah,
a
yeah,
team that isn't competing for a championship.
yeah. No, I don't disagree. And the talk out there is that AJ's all just cares about himself and he just wants the stats and all that stuff, which I I don't know of any receiver that doesn't want the ball, right? Like we talked about
Right.
Troy Aikman earlier. Troy Aikman threw to Michael Irvin, and Michael Irvin's catchphrase was "Give me the damn ball." It was just like
Damn ball.
Keyshawn Johnson. Like it was like "Throw me the damn ball," right? Um, Keyshawn Johnson, like we just talked about him. Like all these guys, To like. You can't tell me that like you've heard. I'm sure you've seen it and you've heard and you've read it. Joe Montana says Jerry Rice was a diva. Like Jerry Rice wanted the ball and like he
Oh
would get
yeah.
pissed off. But like, that's just how receivers are because they want to make the plays. So I get it from that perspective. And I'm sure it burns him up the fact that Smitty's like top 5 in the NFL in receiving yards. But it's because you're on the field. Like you're enabling him to do that. So like be
Correct.
happy for him and like you're winning. But like I was talking to Lewis about this today. If AJ's doing himself a disservice when he acts like this, because you're going to end up getting the stats that you want by being on the field and the way Jalen's spreading the ball around, because who are you going to stop? You can't double team AJ anymore because you have to worry about this guy, that guy, and
Yep.
that guy. So guess what? AJ gets those one-on-one opportunities, and then Jalen throws in the ball more. So I think like I said, the bye week couldn't have came at a perfect time, a more perfect time. This is a perfect opportunity to kind of reset and get everybody on the same page when it comes to that, and hopefully they come out clicking, man. And AJ just kind of gets into the flow and does what he needs to do, because I don't think he had a hamstring injury. I think he had a mental health day. That's what I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was just a mental
I
health day, and that's
after
is
reading
what
that
it is.
article, yeah.
Yep.
And hey, no no harm, no foul on that one.
No, and look, I mean, I'm not knocking it. Sometimes you need that, but like at the same time, like, look, we know what happened with Lane Johnson a few years ago. Like, what, eight
Yep.
8 years ago or whatever. They picked him up on the side of the road, and his mental stuff that he was dealing with. Everybody goes through stuff. So like, the only thing that like as fans we got to do is just be supportive, and because we all know that we're a better team with AJ. Like nobody, all these people saying get rid of AJ, trade AJ, you guys are idiots, absolute morons, absolute idiots. You cannot sit here with a straight face and tell us and tell yourself, don't lie to yourself, that the Eagles are a better team without AJ on the field. You
Right.
can't say that. You cannot say that. He's one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL when he's playing his game.
Right. No, I mean, the people that are saying that, and I'm probably gonna kill any chance right now that we have of getting into the mainstream media, but those are the WIP truthers that think what Joe Giglio and Spike Eskins and all those guys say is the gospel. Well,
Hmm.
Joe Giglio said it, so we have to trade him.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, and like, Spike the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You know what I mean? Like he stirs up controversy because that's their job. Like that. You and I talked about this before.
Absolutely.
When you're a host on the WIP, and you're especially the afternoon host, they may not be your actual views, but your job is to stir up a little bit of controversy and
Hey,
have something to talk about.
the last thing I'll say about this, I know a guy that we both know very well who was forced to be the hot take guy to get
Yeah,
callers.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. And look,
Put it
kudos to them. I mean, they got a job to
yeah,
do, and that's what it is.
they yeah. I mean, they weren't gonna make Ike Reese talk bad about the Eagles, and I'll leave it at that.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely not. Yeah. It'd be sacrilegious. You can't do that.
No. All right, so let's talk about the competition. Don't look now, but your boy is hot. 3 straight. Take it again from last week. We both had the Eagles. I could have made a legitimate argument that Jalen was the player of the game,
Could have.
but
Could have.
I think it was Saquon was the player of the game.
I mean, look, you can also just say that the offensive line was the player of the game,
Right. You could
right?
also Fred
So
Johnson, player of the game.
he's eligible. Ladies, he's eligible. Actually, I don't want to say that. I don't want to throw that out there in case he's not eligible in that
No,
regard. But
poor Fred.
you know,
Meanwhile, Fred's like, "Damn it, I am, I am."
yeah, yeah. My fault, Fred. My fault, Fred.
We both had Jalen with 3 total touchdowns. Saquon had his 100 yards rushing finally, albeit 65 of them came on one play, but that's
Hmm.
how he made his living last year.
Take it.
Defense, the sack party finally happened. Should have been more than the 5 they had, but no need to be greedy. Devontae, I had 100 yards. He didn't score or he didn't have 100 yards. I think he had 83, so we both missed that.
83. Yeah.
And I wanted to give you the Goddard one, but he only had the 2 catches for 2 touchdowns.
I know. I know. It was like what, like 18 yards and 2 touchdowns or something like
Yeah,
that. So, but hey, he got in the end zone, so I'll take it. And it was National Tight Ends Day, so I that's kind of what I figured he would do.
yeah.
But
And I mean,
yeah, I mean, I had Jalen and I had Devontae, same as you did. But yeah, I had the defense with 2 turnovers, and I didn't anticipate the sack party. So kudos, man. You're on a roll. You're on a roll.
3, 4, and 1 now.
There you go. There you go. Climbing back into it.
All right. So since there is no game this week, we discussed it. I'm going to give you just some random picks this week that I'm picking. Um, I like, I do like Baltimore tonight, but that I'm not going to count that one at all. But I think it'd be cool to do a 3-team or 3-person anytime touchdown parlay and see how we can fare with that.
Love it. Love it. You want to lead off
All right.
since you're the big winner?
I'll, I will lead off, and I'm going running back heavy on this one. I
Okay.
think there's a lot of big favorites this week. I think, and I can already tell you how this one's going to play out. I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime touchdown, which means bet the house on Montgomery to have 3 touchdowns this week. I think Green Bay essentially has a bye week this week against Carolina. So I'm going to go Josh Jacobs.
Okay.
And then Puka Nakua is coming back. So I think that's going to open up the run game for the Rams. I'm going to go Kyrene Williams for the 3rd leg of that one.
Okay. All right. I like it. Um, so I'm going to switch it up a little bit. So I had 2 written down. So I'm going to go Tucker Craft, anytime touchdown. Dude's been a beast. He's on fire right now. I think he has 6 touchdowns on the season. So he's Jordan Love's target. So we will get into that next week, that the Eagles need to key on him.
Yes.
Um, with Joe Flacco playing, it seems like he's trending that way. So I have Jamar Chase with a touchdown. And
Like
then
it.
I'm going to go with a little motivation here. I think he's going to come out fired up after the injury to Scatabo, and I'm going to go Tyrone Tracy gets in the end zone this week, being the lead back.
He
It's a
was
little
put in a
plus
tough
five
spot,
forty
I thought.
two, plus 542 on DraftKings Sportsbook, just in case you're wondering. I was going to go Jonathan Taylor instead of Tyrone Tracy, but Jonathan Taylor, like, he's like a guaranteed touchdown in like every game right now.
He
So
was,
it's like
I think he was almost minus 200 for an anytime touchdown.
he's minus 275 for any time
Yeah.
touchdown.
Like
It's
it's
almost like Christian McCaffrey last year, where he scored in like 13 games straight, where you knew every week just throw him in there in like a six
just,
leg parlay and you were going to hit him.
just
So
get the extra leg. Yeah. Let me
yeah,
look it up
yep.
real quick and see what this would be. I should have done that.
I do have two just money line picks, little upset picks that I'm going to throw out there for everybody. Steelers upset the Colts this week. Calling it, calling it.
Wow.
Rodgers doesn't lose 2 games in a row as a Steeler, ever, ever. I mean, this is his first year as a Steeler, so I'm just saying he hasn't lost 2 games in a row yet.
He
So,
hasn't. He hasn't.
and then upset of the week: Texans over the Broncos. Broncos are riding high over the last 2 weeks, upsetting, or not upsetting, but the big win against the Giants and uh, just annihilating the Cowboys. I think they come back down to reality a little bit, playing in Houston, and I think Texans beat them.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. So, and it's funny you say that because the other pick that I had, I like the Colts this week to go in to Pittsburgh and beat them. And then everybody jumps on and finally everybody's a believer in Danny Dimes.
Interesting. Yeah, could be. And look,
And
everybody's a believer in Danny Dimes, and he's not even a top MVP candidate on his team.
he's not. He's not.
Jonathan Taylor has 15 touchdowns on the season right now, and we're halfway through. Dude's a maniac, man. This is the Jonathan Taylor
So
that we were promised a few years ago. Like this is what he's able to do.
yeah, so that my touchdown parlay was plus 300.
There you go. Solid though. That's solid.
Yeah, I'll take it. No, but so do you think that if Jalen didn't have all those, and I'll give you my other pick then, but if Jalen didn't have all the touchdowns that he stole from Saquon last year, would Saquon have been the runaway for the MVP then?
It's tough, man, because it's no running back has won it since Adrian Peterson in 2012. It's been quarterback centric. I mean, the award is basically a quarterback's award, and the offensive player
Right.
of the year is the one where a receiver or a running back can win. So, I do think though if Saquon had 22 touchdowns to go along with his 2,000 yards, that would have looked a little different on the stat sheet in the MVP voting.
Right. Just because I know everybody's talking about that now with Jonathan Taylor, but figured I'd ask since you brought it up. And then my upset, I like Cincy to beat the Bears. I think
Ooh, I like
Bears
it.
are overrated. I
Yep.
think Joe Flacco has them playing well, and I think and I don't think it's going to be particularly close either. Like I think they come in and
I mean, Flacco has them averaging like 34 points a game the last 2 weeks. So their defense can't stop anything. It's like Swiss cheese, but Flacco can
true.
score. I mean, that's what Flacco can still do, man. I can see Flacco being a quarterback till he's like 48, until he gets hurt, basically, because he can still sling the rock, man. Like he got a hell of an arm for being, just what he is. It's amazing to see. It's absolutely amazing to see how relevant T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are in fantasy world, having Flacco back there. It's crazy to see. Nothing against Browning. I mean, Browning was a serviceable backup last year, but he couldn't do anything with him this year. And then Flacco comes in, and
No,
they're like Pro Bowl caliber. It's like crazy.
I listen. T. Higgins is finally off my bench in fantasy because of Flacco.
There you go. There you go. Hey, real quick, I did want to throw this out there. Um, I know there was a lot of trash talked all week about Eagles fans and Cam Scatabo and Zach Bond sucks. It was an illegal hit. It wasn't an illegal tackle. It wasn't a hip drop tackle. Let's just be real about that. The way that he tackled him. Look at the rule of what a hip drop tackle is, and then
I
rewatch
agree.
that play. It was not a hip drop tackle. And nobody wants to see somebody get injured in that way. Do we always want the Eagles to beat the Giants? Absolutely, and twice on Sunday. But do we want to see somebody's ankle or leg or anything get snapped in half and then their life be threatened or their career be threatened? Absolutely not. So we were at the stadium and we can attest the fans were not cheering his injury. We were giving him a standing ovation because I'll be the first one to admit it, and I will never stop saying this. Cam Scatabo, CTE man, is a dog. He's an absolute dog.
Yep.
I have much respect for the way he plays the game and much respect for him. He's a soldier. I can't wait for him to come back healthy. I wish him all the best. Terrible, terrible injury, but as Eagles
That
fans,
was
we were
brutal.
giving him a standing ovation. We were, and for being carted off and everything like that. I brought this up on the members pod though. It is kind of funny looking back on it. You see him, and you see him look at his ankle. First thing he does, taps his helmet so somebody can come in and replace him. Like that's
Yeah.
the first thing you're thinking of. Like you're not
Not
thinking
like,
anything
oh
else. You're
my
like,
god.
yo, Yeah, I need to come out and play. I need to, yeah, we get it. We know you need to come out and play. Your legs in half. Your ankles
I
turn
need
the
some
opposite
help.
way. Yeah. It's like, but yeah, much respect to him, man. And as Eagles fans, like we always want to beat the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Commanders, Redskins, whatever you want to call them. But we never want to see somebody get injured like that. So prayers up
No,
to him and his
and the
family, and we
fact
hope he comes back healthy.
yeah, I mean, and he acknowledged it, waved to the crowd, like, and I guess we can end on this then too. I thought it was a very classy move of Zach Bond to go visit him in the hospital after the game as well. Like,
Yep.
he felt
Yep.
horrible about it. Like, so that's why I'm like, it wasn't a hip drop tackle. It was just one of those freak things that happen. And then shout out to Big Dom for sending cheesesteaks and pizzas to his hospital
Oh,
room
he
then
he
too.
delivered it. He hand delivered it. He went there
Yeah,
and delivered it too. He went there in person. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know where they. I think they said they got him from like Frankie's or something like that. So I don't know. I've never had that, so I don't know if it's any good. So hopefully they gave him the good stuff. But you know,
listen, I
something tells
trust
me
Big
he'll be
Dom knew a
spending.
little secret
I
spot.
I was just getting ready to say whatever they were. I'm sure it was good, but something tells me that Scatabo is going to be spending a lot of time in Philly over the next like 10 years, back and forth. So he'll probably have his fair share of
Yeah,
cheesesteaks and pizza from Philly. And look, I'll be the first one to say it. He's an opposing player, but I'll buy him a cheesesteak, man. He has that much. I have that much respect for that guy. He plays the game the way that
I
we all
no
want an Eagles player to play. So
100%. He's one of those guys. I hate that he's on the Giants. Would love him if he was on my team.
dude, it was the same way when Saquon was on the Giants. I hated that Saquon went to the
Yeah,
Giants, but I'll take him on my team, 100%.
yeah. Hey, who
So,
knows? The timing of their careers, you never know.
yeah, never know, man, never know.
And we'll
But yeah,
leave you on that note.
we'll end on that. Look, go Birds going into the bye week. Um, I feel good about being 6-2, and it'll be
I do.
this week. Oh, we can't get out of here without touching on this. I mean, the Bills and Chiefs, 4:25 on Sunday. I mean, that should be one hell of a game. We don't have the Eagles to worry about to watch.
Stress
Sit
free
down,
Sunday.
stress free, sit down, watch some good football. That should be one hell of a game, and I can't wait to see that one. I'm glad that it's not Sunday night football.
100%.
That way I can watch the whole damn game and not worry about falling asleep.
Yes. Thank you, CBS, for that one. Yeah, I don't want to say that too loud because there's too many people that can hear and add stress to my Sunday, but stress free
Yeah,
Sunday.
I'm with you. I'm with you, man. But yeah, that should be one hell of a
All right,
game.
brother.
So, all right, brother.
All right, everyone. On that note, we will be back next week to preview Monday Night Football. Might be the
Dun,
timing
dun,
might be
dun,
a little different.
dun. All right, am I allowed to even do that, or is that copyrighted? Oh, I don't want to get flagged for
I think if you sing it, it's okay.
that. Okay, good. Dun, 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 dun. I
It's
will
like
say,
the
dude, when we're in the stadium and they play that over the loudspeaker on those games, like there's nothing better than that.
you get
There's
chills.
nothing better. Oh, nothing better. I'm getting chills right now thinking about it.
Yeah. But I think you saying is like Vanilla Ice and Under Pressure, where he's like, mine's a little different. Ding, ding,
There
ding,
you go.
ting. So
All
I
right.
think you're
Yeah.
safe.
Makes sense. I love it. I love it.
And that's how we're gonna go out. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Twitter, Instagram, at Kyle Mott 16. And also you can catch Jim and I on the Clashing Conferences, All Members Pod. I'm there every week. Jim does cameos from time to time when we need to call in the big guns. So you want to talk sports, you want to have friendly banter, we're going into the winter months where we talk all sports, college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, NHL, whatever you want to talk about. Come on and just
It's always a good
have a lot
time.
of fun, man. Always a good time. So where can they find you as usual?
At Philly Jimbo on all social media. And then every Monday through Friday, this day in Philly sports history, special Halloween episode tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for that.
Spooky.
And if you're watching this after tomorrow, go back and rewatch it. You know how it goes.
Spooky. I can't do it backwards, but you get it.
Yeah. On that note, all right, everybody, go Birds.
Go Birds.